Welcome back. Preschool children who experience repeated episodes of severe lower respiratory tract infections often present with symptoms like wheezing and difficulty breathing. A new study looked at whether a common antibiotic given early in these episodes could prevent the illness from getting worse.
This health tip is brought to you by
Desert View Hospital and Mountain Valley Physicians Group. Don't put your health on hold. We have time for you. Call us to schedule your appointment. 775-751-7100.
When preschool children experience repeated lower respiratory infections, it's much more than just a simple cold.
Well, lower respiratory tract illness is a cold that ends up going to the chest and that causes substantial coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath.
The usual treatment often includes steroids like prednisone.
We want to provide a safe alternative that allows these children to experience fewer episodes.
Dr. Leonard Becarier from Washington University in St. Louis and co-authors studied more than 600 children from 1 to 6 years old with a history of repeated episodes of severe respiratory illness. Children were randomly assigned to either receive the antibiotic azithromycin or a placebo early in these episodes.
The parents were to have this medicine at home and were to start it at the very earliest signs of an illness in an effort to try to prevent the progression of the episodes. The children in the azithromycin group were significantly less likely to have progression of their episodes to the point where prednisone would have been required.
Researchers also looked at whether increased antibiotic use could result in more bacterial resistance.
There was a slight increase in the number of children who had resistant organisms at the end of the study among those who received azithromycin compared to those who received placebo, but the numbers were relatively small.
Dr. Becarier says further research is needed to understand how often these resistant organisms will emerge.
How to put this strategy into clinical practice is going to take some time. This requires a proactive discussion with the child's health care provider in advance so that if this strategy is to be undertaken, it is available at home with the parent well instructed as to the earliest signs of illness and knows when to start this.
Catherine Dolph, The JAMA Report.
Dr. Becarier says even when used perfectly, there are many children who will develop severe illness despite these therapies. Hillary Clinton notched a decisive win in the Nevada Democratic caucuses Saturday that could go a long way to helping her regain her footing on the path to the nomination. The former Secretary of State fended off a fierce challenge from Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who has captured the energy and enthusiasm of younger Democratic voters. The Nevada Democratic Party spokesperson said the estimated turnout was about 80,000, falling short of the nearly 120,000 voters who turned out in 2008. Bill Carnes from the Nye County Republican Central Committee spoke to us about tomorrow night's Republican caucus.
On Tuesday, February 23rd, we have the Republican caucus here in Nye County. For the Pahrump area, Pahrump Crystal Mercury, it's all happening over at Rosemary Clark Middle School. The gates open at 5:30 p.m. The precinct meetings begin at 6. First order of business is we open up nominations and elections for a new precinct captain. That position will last for 2 years. Then we go right into opening up for the voting for a presidential preference poll. People can stand up and speak on behalf of their candidates. You can cast a vote. You can stick around. You can put your name in and become a delegate to the county convention for the Republican Party, which will be here in Pahrump at the high school on Saturday, March 19th. From there, we go through all the great stuff for electing delegates that go to the state party and then on to national. Other things you can do at the caucus is you can put in suggestions for resolutions that you'd like us to consider, and also for platform items that go within the Republican principles.
And if anyone wanted to contact or get involved, how would they do so?
If you go to NyeGOP.org, N-Y-E, NyeCountyGOP.org, you can click on the homepage. There's a link that takes you to all the caucus information. There's even another link you can click on. Make sure that you are properly registered to vote. You can find out what precinct you're in. We'll have all of that as well. When you come in, you're going to sign in. We're going to send you off to the right room for your precinct. But if you want to know a little bit of that ahead of time, feel free to go to NyeGOP.org. Click on the link for the caucus.
Let's find out what's happening with your weekend sports.
Weekend Sports is brought to you by Jason Ernest at Mountain West Lawyers. If Peyton Manning does play another season in the National Football League, he'll reportedly be doing so with another team in 2016. According to the sources, the Denver Broncos are shifting their focus to other options at quarterback, be it re-signing Brock Osweiler or looking toward the draft for a long-term replacement for Manning. The relationship between Manning and Broncos general manager John Elway soured during the past season, which would only point more to the two sides splitting up. Manning hasn't explicitly confirmed he will retire this offseason, deflecting the question after his team's Super Bowl 50 win. To promote her appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, UFC fighter Ronda Rousey posted a slimmer-armed photoshopped image to her Instagram, unaware it had been modified. Once she was notified some 9 hours later, she resolved to clear the air, posting both the altered photo and the original side by side. Among the things written in the caption was the adamant affirmation that the gaffe was just that, unintentional. Rousey further drove home her stance by writing, "This goes against everything I believe, and I am extremely proud of every inch of my body." This has been your Week in Sports. I'm Noah Began for News 46.
More local news after this break.